Have you ever wondered what makes your narcissist tick? And it may not be your narcissist, but just any narcissist out there. What makes them tick? Well, number one is I believe that they are what I call self-esteem vampires. Good analogy, I think so. Is what they do is they don't suck blood out of people, but what they do is they suck self-esteem, or that sense of self-worth out of individuals, and they love it. In fact, in their mind, the way they approach life in general is they need this to survive. It's like a vampire. Now, let's extend that analogy a little bit more. What is it that kills a vampire besides onions and garlic? Well, the sunshine. Or with the case of the narcissist, the truth. You know, the light of the truth shining on anything. That kills narcissism. Doesn't kill it, but it kills the effect of narcissism. That is the ray of sunshine that we need to shine on every narcissist we encounter. Always ask ourselves this question. What is reality? What is the real truth? Not my truth versus his or her truth, but what is real truth? Now, the reason I say that, and this is kind of important, so you need to hang in there with me. The reason I say that is because virtually every narcissist that I have ever encountered is not just a liar, but he is or she is a lie. Their life is a lie. They have this bogus, fake mask and costume that they wear. I talked about that in another video just a day or two ago. This is their life, and it's a lie. How do you penetrate that? Well, again, the only way you can counter the life of narcissism is with the sunshine of the truth. Just shine it all over them. What are the facts? Now, I got to say this. You need to get, when it comes to getting the facts, you need to get your ducks in order. Sometimes you have to go to the extent. And you got to check the laws in your jurisdiction, in your state, county, whatever. But check out their history. Go to the county courthouse, or go to the state. You can do this online, at least in my state you can, and you can look up anybody's name. Doesn't cost you anything. You look up anybody's name and see their criminal history. You can look up mine. You'll find out that. Yeah, I got a speeding ticket about 10 years ago, doing 50 and a 35, even though I'd driven by that spot a dozen times and I knew the cop was sitting there, but my mind was in outer space somewhere, and I got and it's online. You go to the state right now and type it in and look up my name, and poof, there it is. Anyway, there you look up some other people's names. It's kind of fun. But you need to take the truth, and sometimes that is required, and shine it on the vampire narcissist, because that's what kills his lie. Another thing you might consider doing, and this is where you really need to pay close attention to the law, your jurisdiction, your city, your state, your county, whatever. But in some areas, it's perfectly legal to record somebody without them knowing it. Now, you may say, I don't feel comfortable doing that, and I don't either, but you know what? There's something that makes me even more uncomfortable, and that is being the victim of a vampire, narcissist, of having my character assassinated, of having my sense of self-worth sucked out of me. And that is essentially what gaslighting is. It's when the narcissist convinces you that you are worthless, that you have some kind of a mental problem, and he wants everyone else to think the same thing. That's why they get into the smear campaign. They will absolutely, positively destroy you. But what if you have recordings? What if you had a cell phone or some device in your pocket and you had it on record? Maybe even video recording. And when the narcissist finds out, suddenly his smear campaign has a problem. Because all these lies he's been telling, well, that's not the way it actually worked. That's not what was actually said, because you recorded it. Do I suggest you do that? I would rather say that I suggest you think about it because, yeah, you get yourself into trouble and you don't want to do that. But anyhow, number one is this. How does your narcissist tick? Well, you need to understand that he ticks this way. He is a self-esteem vampire. He wants to suck that blood or the worth, your self-worth, out of you and transition it to himself because, like a vampire, he needs it to live. He doesn't have any. Number two, narcissists have a twin-engine moral mindset. This is something I just came up with when I was reminiscing about my encounters with narcissists, and it occurred to me that, and by the way, pushing 70 years old, I've learned a thing or two along the way over the decades, and what I'm doing now, just sharing with you some of the things that I have learned over my life. Doesn't matter how old you are. You could be a kid, you could be a teenager, middle-aged adult, older adult, senior like myself. But yeah, I've been there, and I was asked me the whole time, all nearly 7 years. I've had Asperger's syndrome, and so I've experienced all these stages in life. And I just find it fulfilling to share these things with you. And one of the things that I discovered was that narcissists have this thing that I call a twin-engine moral mindset. Now, I think that everybody has this to some degree. For example, let's say you're driving down the highway or city street, wherever, and somebody cuts you out in traffic. Somebody's in a big hurry, rude, doesn't care about anyone else. Or maybe, just maybe, they didn't see you. A big accident, not a crash, but the implication is that they didn't mean to do it, because if they knew you were there, they wouldn't have pulled out in front of you. Doesn't matter. They should be paying attention. They got their nerve to treat people like that. What's wrong? What's wrong with people? What is this world coming to? And on you go because you were offended, right? You got your moral standard. You don't cut people out in traffic until you do it. You know, those things happen. Suddenly we have this different moral mindset, and there have been psychological studies done on this. I have seen them in the past, can't cite them, sorry, but yeah, we tend to be more offended when someone does it to us than we are when we do it to them. That is how human nature works. That is a double standard. That is our twin engine, my term for it, moral mindset. So both of those engines are running at the same time, and we're just flying through life. But when it comes to the narcissist, they're more clearly defined. They have the sense of morality that revolves around themselves. The slightest little thing offends them. The slightest slight is the way that I like to say it. Offends them. But the greatest offense that you can think of, they don't expect you to be offended. It doesn't bother them in the slightest bit. Not the slightest slight of a bit. So, what does that tell you about a narcissist? It tells you that he or she is immensely, horribly self-centered. Good word for that is narcissism. That's what makes him tick. That's part of his mechanism. That's part of how he is. We're going to have to move a little bit quicker. We got, I think, 7 of these points, but number 3 is slighting others is enjoyable. Slighting others is enjoyable. Now, to us, we don't like being slighted. But to him, slighting us is enjoyable. Now, what if you turn that backwards? What if somebody slights him? Nah, you can't do that. He becomes, or she becomes extremely offended when they are slighted in the slightest. Number 4 is this. The moral code of narcissism is very one-sided. Now, we made that obvious already, but we understand that it is wrong to trespass. The narcissist understands that it is wrong to trespass on his property. But it's okay to trespass on your property. If there is a big old sign that says no trespassing on his property, he expects everyone to see it and read it and do not cross or pass that sign. Don't cross the property line. If there is a no trespassing sign on your property, he doesn't even see it. I mean, he sees it, but it means nothing to him because, well, that's how narcissist thinks. Rules, well, those are nice things for everybody else, but he's not everybody else. He's better than everybody else because he needs to suck that that self-worth blood out of others to prop himself up or herself up. Number 5 is this. He or she is stuck in a, what we call a child's mind, M-I-N-E, moral mindset. I've said many times that there are two words rather that little children learn to speak first. One of them is the word no, and the other word is mine. Everything belongs to them. If you're a toddler, the whole world belongs to you. Well, a narcissist, what makes him or her tick? Well, part of it is they just haven't grown up. They're still toddlers. They have a toddler's mindset. Now, they got a big adult body. They look like adults. Sometimes they even act like adults, and they're good at faking that. So you just can't tell. But once you get to know them, you find out their worldview is really boiled down to one word: mine. Anything you say or do that doesn't fit with their way of thinking, because even thinking belongs to them, they find highly offensive. They are slighted. And every slight is not slight. It is big time. Number 6 is we have these two factors working together as we try to understand what makes a narcissist tick, and they form like a symbionic working of the narcissist's mind. At least that has been my observation. So there you go again. Twin engine airplane. So they have this drive to satisfy their bloodlust, the vampire narcissist. They have this desire to satisfy their, what it really is ego lust. They got to have it. They just got to have it. They are always, again, using the leaky tire illustration, they're always needing a refill. They never get to a point where they're full because they can't, because it goes in one end and out the other. But they got to have it. They just got to have it to survive. They don't care about anyone else. They don't care what anyone else gets, what anyone else has. Now, they may pretend to care about others, and they're so good at pretending. But in the end, you're going to find out all that was fake. All that was pretense. All that was the costume. All that was the mask. Number 7 is this. And we have 8 of these altogether. They are, and I find this one kind of interesting, but they are blind to their double standard. At least from my experience, they're just, they don't see it. They don't get it. They don't realize their double standard exists. I mean, they really think this is the way things should be. At least from what I've seen. They think it is morally correct to be outraged and offended if you didn't buy them Egg McMuffin. That is the correct thing to do, to be mad, to be upset about it, to say something about it. How dare you? It is perfectly okay for them not to pay the rent because, who do you think you are to think that I owe you rent? Never mind that we have a lease, never mind that I live in your property, never mind that we have an agreement, but the narcissist thinks that he is the king of the universe, queen of the universe. How dare you think I should pay my bills? That's the way these people think by and large. So they have this amazing double standard, and it just never occurs to them. It just doesn't occur to them that they have it. It doesn't occur to them that that's not the way the world works. They're blind to it. It's like there's something amiss with their brain. There's something wrong with the way these people think. And there is, obviously. Or they wouldn't do what they do. All right, number 8. Are you ready for this? Number 8 is narcissist, as far as I can tell. Narcissist cannot change. I believe, and some people argue with me over this, but I believe that their brain, that's an organ of the body, obviously. Everyone knows that. And not all brains are the same. No two brains are the same. And some brains have certain characteristics, certain flaws, and they have names for those flaws. It is a biological anomaly. They're just different. Their amygdala and their brain, amygdala plural, it's different. It doesn't work the way ours does. Their limbic system, I can't say it's dysfunctional, but it functions differently. Now, I hate to say that they can't help being the way they are, but I honestly believe that a narcissist cannot not be a narcissist. He or she will never change. And if you take a narcissist or a psychopath into a counseling session, which is really hard to do, you pretty much have to get these people in prison where they have to go see the psychiatrist. You know what they do? They are so good, they are so clever at putting on that mask and that fake persona that they actually convince the psychologist or the therapist that they are recovered. They're okay now. They get away with it. And oftentimes the therapist, the psychologist, whoever that happens to be, realizes what they have done long after they have done it. Man, they realize this guy just scammed me. And then they get a deeper understanding of how significantly difficult this brain problem. I hate to call it a mental disorder. It's a brain disorder. And they really understand now how deep and how entrenched and how firmly entrenched this disorder is. They don't expect them to change. You'd just be disappointed. See those two rectangle boxes on the screen? If you like what you heard, want to keep talking, hey, just click one of those boxes. We keep on going. But if you're done from now, then we say thanks for stopping by, and we'll see y'all next time.